Welcome to a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at 9:30 at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda.
Good morning. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Welcome to Lorain County Board of Commissioners, Wednesday, August 8th, 2018 meeting. Commissioner Lundy.
Our inspirational word, because love is what matters most, it takes top priority. Whenever we have the opportunity, we should do good to everyone.
Commissioner Kokoski has our dog this morning.
May have to be nice to Ted today.
That's right. Try hard.
Hello, little baby. Okay. Well, this little guy and I got acquainted on Saturday. He was in the cage, and he wasn't super friendly, as like a lot of them aren't in the cage. He was scared, but he is a little sweetheart, and he is available right now. He is about a 2-year-old male Chihuahua mix. He's a little taller than a normal Chihuahua, but he's very sweet. He's sneezing. Okay, baby. So we have 18 dogs in the kennel. We had a great Saturday, which I will talk about during my report. So if you're not interested in him, we have lots of cute dogs, I know, because I've seen them all on Saturday. So come see us. You can also check us out on Facebook, and $66 will take him home. Thanks.
Madam Clerk.
Under Resolutions Number 1, Investments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Appropriations.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
No advances, no repayments, requisitions.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
No travel, bills.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary sheet for employees within jurisdiction of Lorain County Commissioners.
Mr. Cordez.
Good morning, Commissioner. Thank you. I actually do have quite a few potential hires between maintenance, custodial, 911, job and family services, possibly the collection center. We want to discuss those applications with the board. Also, a matter of negotiations and 3 pending matters of litigation. All of those topics are allowed under the Sunshine Act for executive session discussions. So I'd ask at the conclusion of our regular board meeting, we go into executive session and discuss those matters I've identified. Thank you.
Thank you.
Approve and waive the reading of the minutes of August 1st.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Authorize payment of $1,000 to Bush Funeral Homes Ferry Park for indigent veteran Thomas R. Richard, Avon, in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code 5901.25.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Award contract to Carry and Asphalt Paving, Inc., Solon, in the amount of $544,666 for parking lot improvements, Justice Center North-South lots, 3rd Street and Holly Lane, 3rd Street and Middle, Temple Street, and Ag Center. 3 bids were received on July 24th, this being the most responsive, complying with specifications. Issue notice to proceed on or before August 20th and complete on or before October 31st. Authorize administrator to notify the auditor to release retainage at completion of project.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Rescind Resolution 18446 adopted July 11, 2018, scheduling the viewing and hearing of Mapleview Ditch, Brown Hill Township. Viewing on August 14th has been canceled and rescheduled to August 28th. Hearing is now September 18th at 9:30, not on August 28th. The notices will be sent today, published in the paper on August 15th and 22nd.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Declare it necessary to levy a tax in excess of 10 mil limitation for the human or social services, hospitalization, and health, including facilities providing such services for 5-year levy to be placed on the November 6, 2018 ballot. Valuation for millage was requested at .15, .20, .25, .30, .45, .50, .60, .65, .70, .75, .80, and .85 mils additional.
Okay.
Lots of choices.
Well,
Good
no
choice.
motion yet. You want to do discussion first without a motion since we have so many different options here?
Okay. Well, obviously, we've been engaged in a lot of meetings with our coalition, which includes Nord Family Foundation, LACADA, ADAS Board, and we've had ongoing discussions about Recovery One and plans for moving forward. We were fortunate enough to come together and seek a capital budget bill grant from the state for $500,000 to help stabilize the utilities in the building. And the commissioners have also made an investment in that as well. But now we're looking at the next step, and the next step is for getting people into the building for the programming efforts, for the operations of the building, and through the discussions, and especially the big concern is about what the future holds for the Medicaid expansion. That's a big question mark. We saw one gubernatorial candidate run in the primary saying he was getting rid of it, and then did a total about face, so I don't know about the full depth of the sincerity and conviction and commitment to that. But there's also a lot of concern at the national level about how we go about taking care of our loved ones and our families through the Affordable Care Act. So with those things in mind, there's been a lot of discussion. There's been a lot of numbers looked at. Mr. Cordes, I know that you've been greatly involved in a lot of those discussions, and we've taken a look at a lot of numbers here, and I know that you wanted to share some of your thoughts concerning some of your observations regarding where you think may be a reasonable landing area.
Well, as we've discussed, we've all discussed this at various times and in various meetings. A lot of fine people working on this initiative, but strangely, we have extremes in the numbers. Some folks are rather low, other folks are rather high. I think that's because of the method of delivery of services, the type of services, et cetera. And that caused me to ask the board to at least examine other millage options a couple weeks ago so that we had a broad base that we could pick from. I've come to the conclusion that somewhere in between each one of those numbers is probably the working number. It's not going to be a perfect solution. I don't think even the low number or the high number is a perfect solution. I think it's a work in progress, and then there's more work that needs to be done. But we're out of time right now, and we're still waiting on a cost analysis to come back from the folks out of Cincinnati that our partners have hired to do that cost study. I believe that's where we had the high number, but I believe that number is going to come down substantially when we look at interlacing services from various organizations to reduce cost. So that said, what do we do while we're waiting on all this? Well, we have to do something. And I think that we take the middle of the road. I think that we build a program with our partners around what the taxpayers may be willing to provide to their community to support dealing with this problem, and that's around $2 million. I think it's a number that can work. It can work for the facility. It can work for the services. I've looked at everything that's been provided, and I think that there's plenty of room to make that number work. Now, if we need more later on, we'll figure something out later on. If we need less, we can provide more services. But I think the number is really, really close. And we need to get going because we're an SOS community. We're a HIDA community. And we don't have a lot of addiction services here in this community. So we're going to beat down the vendors. They're going to take care of the bad guys as best they can. But what do you do with what's left? How do you deal with the problems?
Drug dealers.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So what do you do with what's left? We have to have some services for these folks. There's not a lot of service available in any of the hospitals. It's not an area that they're actively pursuing. They do what they can. And then we have to send a message to the community of how this affects our community. Whether we know somebody in our family or friends or somebody in our neighborhood, but it's more than that. It's the impact on the economy. The study says it's a $200 million impact on Lorain County. But how do you translate that to one homeowner? Well, when people want to buy houses, they want to move into safe communities. They want to move into communities with good school, good police, good fire, that's safe. And when that kind of impact's happening, those things don't happen to your community. And we need to send that message out there. We need to also send a message that we need to deal with this problem together. The community together, not just government, not just nonprofit, not just the medical community, but all of us together. And that includes every one of us that live here. Or we continue to let people die and continue to watch crime go up and continue to overtax our safety forces, to overtax the court system, the criminal justice system, the jail, the hospitals, the emergency rooms, and it won't get better until we start putting some services out there. I sum it up pretty quick that way.
Yeah.
So that's my view. I think we need a midpoint and we need a starting point. And we got to stop talking about what we may be doing and try to do something, get into action.
I was listening to the news yesterday, and Cuyahoga County were reporting that there were 15 deaths in 5 days. Half of those people were over 60 years old, and the oldest one being 72. So this morning I started jotting down things that I wanted to say about this issue, and I just kept writing and writing. There's so much to say. So first of all, I think we need to be blunt because we have a crisis in our community. And I'm really glad that I had the opportunity to get to know this group on this level. And we have spent a lot of time talking through these issues. And I think their hearts are in the right place. But we can't wait on this for another year. While they continue to collect data, our coroners continue to collect body bags. So if you don't care about those that are dying, let's talk about those who are living, if that's what you want to call it, because if they're not in recovery, they are surviving to get the money to get high every day, all day. And that's not living. And if you don't care about them, then you might have compassion on their family. But maybe you think they weren't raised correctly, and you may think that won't happen in my family. Well, I hope that it doesn't. So the Al Truen report that they did, I want to hit on a couple things. One of the things is, for 2017, there were 2,691 ER visits in 2016 from those people overdosing. So if you're wondering why, when you go to the emergency room and you're sitting in the lobby waiting to be serviced, that's part of a problem there. There were 132 deaths in 2017. That's 2 to 3 people a week. Then the annual economic burden, as Mr. Cordes mentioned, is $200 million in Lorain County. And that's Lorain County residents are paying that money one way or the other. So what we're doing is we're asking for 1% of that can address this issue. So as a $200 million burden, what they're talking about is lost wages, productivity, tax revenues, increased health care costs, indirect health complication, additional crime, criminal justice, police, corrections, children's services, and treatment prevention. So the criminal justice portion of this economic burden is what the county government addresses with your tax dollars, because 80% of our budget goes to the criminal justice system. So the sheriff, the jail, the judges, the probation department, clerk of courts, prosecutor's office, and when all that fails, the coroner, he's the last stop. And it's over for the addict, but it's not over for those that they leave behind. Many of them have innocent children who are now being raised by grandparents or other family members. Unfortunately, because this is a family disease, there may not be anyone left to care for the kids, and they end up in our Children's Services Department, which the taxpayers also support. So those who don't care that good people are dying or those living are costing a small fortune in health care and the justice system, and if you're not touched by what it's doing to families and friends in our community, maybe you've not looked into the innocent eyes of a child whose mom or dad has either died or are in jail, and the impact on the lives of those children that's going to be forever, then let's look at the bottom line, which is your wallet. If their report says the cost of this epidemic is $200 million, that's $200 million that Lorain County residents are paying for right now. And what if their report isn't accurate? What if it's $100 million? Regardless, it's a huge number, and the taxpayers are paying for it right now. So we are putting this issue on the ballot today because time is of the essence. It's going to take money to operate Golden Acres as Recovery One, and everyone agrees that the model we're looking at to do at Recovery One is needed. We just can't agree on the cost yet, but we will. Today is the last day to put this on the ballot before the voters, so we're looking at a number somewhere in the middle, like they said, of what the experts think we need to operate the facility. The cost of the homeowner with a $100,000 house will be less than $10. If we do the $2 million, it'll be $7 a year. And I hope that the voters will feel that addressing this crisis is necessary both from a compassionate perspective and also from a financial one. So.
Nice job.
This is a boom. I mean, this morning I just started writing. I just couldn't stop it. It's so important.
Yeah, it's a crisis within our community. We're trying to address it, working with all the other agencies. I'll move, but we have to make a number, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say a few more words, if I could.
Sure.
You know, and boy, you just put it so well. Your statement was amazing. You know, our Lorain County families face a crisis. Our loved ones, neighbors, and even grandparents are overdosing. Grandparents overdosing. I mean, this is an epidemic. When your family faces a crisis, do you say, well, let's just wait until tomorrow? You care about your family and your neighbor, so waiting is not an option, and you take action. We can't wait for the cavalry to arrive. The federal government and the state needs to do more. Our governor was bragging this morning about taking extra money and providing, putting more money in the rainy day fund. You know, it's raining here in Lorain County. We have people dying. We need the dollars here. We need to help people, but he'd rather put it in the rainy day fund. He's also talking about another tax break. I'm not opposed to tax breaks, but we've got some serious issues that have to be addressed before we start doing more of those.
Well, here, look
So-
at this, Commissioner Lundy.
Yeah.
Did you see these graphs? This is Ohio. This is Ohio. This is carfentanil deaths in Ohio. This is all the other states.
130 for the other states, 1,100 for Ohio.
Yeah, that's just
overwhelming.
carfentanil. That's not heroin and regular fentanyl and
As we said,
fentanyl and cocaine and fentanyl and everything.
it's out of control. But the cavalry's not coming, folks. Federal government, state, they need to do more. We appreciate the state's assistance this far with the capital budget bill, but more is needed in the way of programming. We need to take matters into our own hands and help our families here at home in Lorain County. We have two options. We can keep talking about just how bad the drug problem is, or we can actually do something about it. Action always speaks louder than words. This is a family crisis, but it's also a community crisis. It can only be solved through community support. No one person, no one group can do it alone. This epidemic needs a community response, not more talk. Through Recovery One, we want to put our loved ones and our neighbors back on their feet again, back to work again, and back to supporting their families. The time for talk is over. The time for action is now. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, guys. Appreciate all the work put in our administrator and staff helping and the whole coalition. Commissioner Kokoski mentioned somewhere around the $2 million per year out to $7. a year per 100,000 valuation. That would be the .30 mil, correct?
That's correct.
Correct.
Is that agreeable to the board? Then I would make that.
I'm comfortable with that.
You're comfortable?
Yes.
Good. Then I will make that motion to put the levy on the ballot at .30 mils.
And that's for a 5-year.
Yeah, 5
Levy.
Right,
years.
5-year levy.
Okay. I would second that.
Any further discussion? Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Under solid waste, amend resolution 17346 adopted May 24, 2017, approving contract with Ross Environmental Services, Inc., Elyria for transportation, recycling, and disposal of waste materials until 2019. Said amendment is to reflect an increase for a total contract not to exceed $200,000.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Approve Brighton Township 2018 Community Incentive Grant Funding in the amount of $1,318.60 to purchase Kubota and Hustler mulch kit, street sweep, blower, and brake part for trailer.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Approve Brownhill Township 2018 Community Incentive Grant Funding in the amount of $2,433.16 to purchase fence and advertising.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Approve Penfield Township 2018 Community Incentive Grant Funding in the amount of $2,489.31 to purchase advertising, supplies, playground equipment and mulch, certificates, shirts, and food refreshment for Pride Earth Day.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Approve Rochester Township 2018 Community Incentive Grant Funding in the amount of $942.29 to purchase supplies, Pride Day food, and steel roof.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Under Transit, extend agreement with First Transit to provide transportation services for non-emergency medical transportation for 3 months, effective retroactive to July 1st, 2018 through September 30th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Under the engineer, amend resolution 1868 adopted January 24, 2018 with GeoSci Inc. to assist with required testing and inspection of Barrington Park subdivision number 8, Eaton Township. Amendment is to reflect an increase of $20,000 to reflect total contract of $42,500 to be paid from the engineer project account.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Cortez.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have a lot of work to do. We need to build a levy committee. We need volunteers. This is going to be pretty much a grassroots effort. I know not a lot of people watch us here, but if they do, you can contact my office at 329-5760, or go online on our website. You can send us an email if you want to be a volunteer. It's going to take a lot of hands on the oars. Some of them are going to get pretty blistered. And as we know, the chances for success are always slim. But we have to get out there and try to make a difference. We're not going to be able to raise a lot of money for a campaign. There'll be some, but this is going to take people going out there and talking to people. If everybody will talk to 10 people, and those 10 people will talk to 10 people, and so on, we may have a small chance at this. This is very, very important to the community. We're not going to put posters up for the kids with black eyes or in need of medical care. This is something different, and I'm hopeful that some folks will come forward. And there's a lot of community leaders that we need to call on and ask for their support. We have very little time, and we have a lot to do. I guess we begin this afternoon with our Rolodex.
Mm-hmm.
And just to clarify some things for people out there, there's no arguing in the coalition. There's just different thought patterns on what needs to be done. If we start and we're successful, we can always do more later, but we have to do something now. So I'm looking forward to rolling up our sleeves and trying to make this happen. It looks like we're going to be on the speaking tour again. A lot of skinny chicken dinners and
We're used to that.
yeah, I know. So actually, more than money for a campaign, we need yes votes, and we need people moving the message for us. More to follow on this. We're going to be talking about it every meeting from now on, and talking about what the needs are, what the progress are, and putting the information out there. And we also need the media to come help with this issue. Whether people believe it or not, there's still a huge impact with the media, still a huge impact with both the written and online, and it's time for them to step to the plate too and deal with this problem with us. So they will be getting called upon too. There was a day back in the 90s, I remember, when we were trying to pass a jail tax, and it had failed several times, and both newspapers came to the table, and they ran article after article after article, and they were calling the jail catch and release. Because we couldn't house anybody. They were going in, and shortly after that they were exiting, and we couldn't put people in jail, and they were going back and committing crimes a day after they were sentenced, put in the jail. So we're going to need that kind of support this time too.
Yep.
So I'm going to say about it. I'm going to yield to council, but we're going to have a lot more in the future to say about it. Thank you.
Mr. Ennis.
I probably have the same litigation matters that Mr. Cordes talked about.
Commissioners report.
Well, I told you I would report on our dog day, second annual dog days out at Lorain County Dog Kennel. It was a huge success. The volunteers did it all themselves with help from our staff, but mostly her name is Sam, and she did an amazing job. Just wanted to let you know that there was $4,567 that was donated, and that number is still growing. We had 4 adoptions, 3 owner redemptions, 2 rescues, and a lot of people meeting and greeting the dogs that were there that weren't available on Saturday, but will be available this week. So I'm hoping that they'll be coming back out to adopt those dogs. It was wonderful, and thank you, my staff, for coming out and helping out that day. It was very, very hot, but it was a great day in all. So, and then Sunday, I just want to wish happy birthday to Cole, Ron's grandson. He turned 3 years old, and he's a big brother to Julia, and they have a nice little family. So, happy birthday, Cole. End of my report.
Okay. Yeah, again, shout out to all of our volunteers and our staff. Lorain County Dog Kennel event was wonderful. Thank you to all the vendors who participated. Again, it's good to showcase, the animals and seeing what the community support is in regards to that. Also, Commissioner Lundy and I presented a certificate of recognition to Drug Mart. They're opening a new facility in Avon Lake, which is going to handle their specialty drugs and call center for prescriptions. Again, great family, really committed. Actually, the first Drug Mart was in Amherst, they said.
Elyria.
Elyria?
The Abbey
I thought
Road
he-
one.
Oh, the Abbey, that's right, the
Yeah,
Abbey
right.
Road one. The Abbey Road one was first.
Know that.
The Avon Lake one was the fourth one,
one.
and this is right across the street from Avon Lake, repurposing a very good building, the old big Fisher Big
Fisher
Wheel, I
Big
think.
Wheel, yeah.
And then just a busy weekend events, Hungarian picnic, always a success, Lions Forever. Commissioner Lundy and I chose different lines, so I got to my stuff faster. Again, congratulations to Father Craig at St. Peter's. Another great turnout for his event, and Joel Arredondo had a nice event. And last night, Sheffield Township and City of Lorain had their National Night Out. I tried to get to Lorain one, it was an absolute downpour, and I was in dress clothes, and I saw people slopping through the park trying to get back in the rain. So I moseyed on over to Sheffield Township, was on blacktop. So again, congratulations, Angel Arroyo for Lorain, and always a great job, Sheffield Township and trustee Chad Parsons. End of my report.
And thank you to Drug Mart for their investment in Lorain County. 110 new jobs in our county as a result of this new pharmacy distribution center. And I was telling folks, I don't know about you, but I walk in a Drug Mart, I just can't walk in and walk out. For some reason, I kind of go up and down the aisles, and so I don't know what it is about that place that happens to me all the time.
everything.
They do have everything you need, right?
They have everything.
The plain dealer, the Cleveland.com, like, it's like a general store. Today's version of a general store.
That's right. That's right. But boy, some of the nicest people you ever meet, and as was pointed out, their very first store in Elyria, Avon Lake ended up being their 4th store. And I remember when the old Fisher Big Wheel was in that facility across the street from the Drug Mart, and now it's been transformed into this facility, which is very, very high tech, and it's serving facilities in other states, not just in Ohio. But the technology nowadays just blows you away. But we can't thank them enough for the substantial investment that they've made here in Lorain County, for the 110 new jobs for our county. Also met again with the Puerto Rican Family Transition Team. That was a great meeting, working on some things throughout the summer, reaching out to those families as they continue to transition here to Lorain County. Congratulations, as Lori pointed out, to all the volunteers. Wow, what a great turnout. I was talking to all the folks at the various tables, and they're just so energized and passionate, and you can't help but feel energized when you're around them. And, you know, there was a day and time where, you know, dogs were being put down at the kennel, and that just doesn't happen anymore. How long is our window?
Almost 4 years that we have not put a dog down due to space issues.
It's amazing, and I think there are very few kennels that can probably say that.
Oh, yeah.
So,
We've put less dogs down than no-kill shelters put down, so
wow.
it's good. We're doing a great job there.
Yeah, just an amazing event.
Three partners, you may want to mention
Oh,
them.
yeah,
Right.
it's all about our staff and them being willing to work with the rescues and volunteers. You know, some places, they don't want anybody looking over their shoulder, so they don't want rescue groups and people, you know, helping. But if it wasn't for our rescue groups and volunteers helping, Lori Wilbur, when we get full, the radio station, she's out, you know, saying, hey, help, we need help. Come and adopt a dog from Lorain County Dog Kennel. So, yeah, we have a lot of people that partner with us, and the APL, I mean, yeah, it just goes on and on. So.
Yeah, congratulations to everyone involved in that. Also attended the Oberlin Family Fun Fair in downtown Oberlin on Saturday. Huge turnout there. Amazing car show. There was a gentleman there. He owned, I think it was like a 1958, 1959 Chevy. He had the original price tag of like $1,950. I told him I'd make sure he got his money back, but he said I had to do better than 1950. So we're
Maybe
yeah,
19,000.
yeah, maybe put a couple of zeros on there. So, but. Also, the Hungarian Festival, as Commissioner Kalo pointed out, boy, what a turnout there. And yes, I was in a longer line. I know I was waiting for food, so we'll just leave it at that. But Joel Arredondo, president of Lorain Council, nice event over at Mexican Mutual. As I always say, some of the nicest people you ever meet over there. Very friendly atmosphere and great food as well. St. Peter's Parish Festival, good turnout over there as well. Always a nice event that they hold there. Also have had a chance in the past week to catch up with some of the mayors in the community, talking about our Recovery One initiative, and they certainly are seeing what impact it's having on their communities, and so we had some very, very positive talks about it. And congratulations to all the organizers for National Night Out. I know the weather certainly played games. I did not make Lorain either, but made over Sheffield Township. And just want to thank everybody for coming out. We all have to work together with our law enforcement and our first responders and be those extra eyes and ears out in the community. If you see something, say something, and let's always be there to support our hometown heroes. And that completes my report.
Madam Clerk,
For correspondence,
move the reading be waived.
Second.
discussion, Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy,
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Public comment.
Anyone wishing to address the board this morning? Yep. come up.
Either side, whatever,
Right here.
over
Right
here
there.
or over here.
Thank you.
I'm ashamed to tell you that this is the first time I've been to one of your meetings, but I do want to tell you on Channel 12 in Wellington, I do watch every week.
Oh,
great.
And I really appreciate the things that you guys do.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to start out and say Teresa Upton is a very, very nice lady. You guys ought to say, thank you for being so nice. I called up yesterday, and that's the kind of public service that you want from an employee. So thank you very much, Teresa. I'd also like to say that Mr. Cortez must be a very intelligent man. I looked down, I said, well, what floor is this on? And it said level 4. And under his name was so many jobs that I quit reading. It was too much work. So
Hang on, let me say, you have to introduce yourself and tell us where you're from.
okay,
though.
my name is Ayers Ratliff.
Thank you.
I live at 340 Fieldstone Court in the village of Wellington. I'm on the Wellington School Board. I'm also on the Lorain County JVS School Board. I came to you today because as a citizen and as a board member, I feel it is my job as an elected official to know what I'm talking about when I talk about things that involve the school. I spent 2 weeks and I put together the chart that I gave you here. This is the 14 public school districts in Lorain County. The first row tells you how many buildings they have. The second row tells you how many athletic complexes they have. And I can tell you that athletic complexes are very, very expensive. Wellington has budgeted $1 million over 4 years. We're halfway home. First year we put in new bleachers. Second year we put in new lighting and so on, and a scoreboard. Next year we have to put in a new track. We haven't had a track meet since 1986, and our kids really feel left out. And then the following $250,000 is going to be on our locker rooms that's up at our football field. So what I'm telling you is athletic complexes can be very expensive. There's the number of students, almost 41,000, 40,995. The number of buses that each one of these districts run is 365 buses. Every day they start out, take these kids to school, and they do so safely. That's one of the safest ways to take kids to school. The next is the district's evaluation for 1 mil. Now 1 mil means a lot of different things. For instance, 1 mil in Clearview is only $79,000. 1 mil in Wellington's only $200,000. Some of us small ones are really hurting, like Columbia, $214,000. The next is the permanent improvement millage that we've got approved. Now the problem with permanent improvement, it has to last for at least 5 years, and it has to be spent, I say it has to be spent on buildings, buses, books and computers and so on. And I will tell you, this is the amount that the entire county is getting for permanent improvement. As you see, Lorain City is getting nothing. And they have a very fine vocational program. They do not go to the JVS. And I recently visited that complex at Lorain, and it's top notch. It's top notch. Now, I would like to say that, I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but third graders, when they take the reading guarantee test and all the testing from the state, they have to take it on the computer. And you can imagine, I just visited a little bit to see some of the kids were pecking, you know. Now, can you imagine a third grader that's going to sit and peck for a half hour and write the answers to things that's on that state test? He just quits, and then the state says, well, he's not proficient. Yeah. He's just not proficient. So this means, to me, is that we're going to start having to supply every kid in our school, starting in kindergarten, a computer and do a lot of instruction where they get practice. Because everybody believes that, oh, all these kids have computers at home. They have the internet. And I know one time they said, well, we're going to change things at our board meeting and everybody has to register for free lunch online. I said, you got to be kidding me. I said, I don't know what percentage it is, but you can't do that to families. You have to give out paper. You have to send it home so they can fill it out, turn it in, and start getting free lunches. But the reason I did this chart is to see where we stood. $8 million is what we get in the 14 county schools. On the next page, the JVS has put on a ballot initiative that's a permanent improvement, continuous. It doesn't expire like your 5-year 0.30 mil levy that you just put on. And it's going to generate almost $4.5 million a year. Now, if you do your math, that means 45% of permanent improvement money is going to be going to the JVS. Well, I suggested, hey, how about 0.15? You know, let's be realistic. And they went ahead and they put the it started out at 0.25, then in some way it grew to 0.75. And I said, well, I can tell you right now, I'm not going to embarrass our school like this by putting something on that shows that we're greedy and asking for something that we do not need.
Excuse me 1 second if I can. Normally we have a 3-minute limit on all these things. And I thought, I was letting you speak as a public official. Is this becoming an opinion piece in regards to what the JVS is doing and your role as a board member? 'Cause
No,
we
well,
normally
I-
don't go over, you're kind of taking it outside of our realm here.
Okay,
Okay, in public comment, we give you 3 minutes to talk about anything
Okay.
you absolutely like. And I was allowing you the additional time because you're an elected official.
yes, sir.
But now it looks like you're doing an opinion piece
Well-
versus your board, and that's not normally what we do up here.
Okay, could I switch back to what I'm supposed to talk about then?
You can say more good things about me if you like.
Okay, I'll do that. Or
Yeah,
you
if
want
you
me-
go
happen
back
too
to,
often.
if you're talking pertinent about your role as a school board
Yeah.
member and what
Yes,
we're doing with the
okay.
schools,
Yes,
that's
sir.
fine. And we'll give you allowable
Yeah,
time because you're an
Okay.
elected official.
On the second sheet, it shows, this is from the Lorain County Auditor's Office. They're asking for $4.4889 million. In Wellington millage, this is 23 mills that we'd have to put on the ballot. I want to show you that in Clearview, it is 56.58. If you're looking at Clearview millage, if I live in Clearview and I vote for the JVS, because they collect in such vast area. In fact, we have about a $6 billion evaluation that's 0.35, what we tax from, about $18 million worth of property, or billion. And as you see, the Clearview doesn't have that. And if I lived in Clearview, I'd have to say, well, I'm willing to give the JVS 56 more times than I give my own kids if I approve this. And I just don't think, I don't think that it's fair. And then the next meeting we had, we came up with how we're going to spend the money, and they couldn't come up with the first year. And I just don't think that that's right. And I do want to say before I sit down that I have your number, 329-5760. I will call you. My wife and I would be willing to work in Wellington for your .30 levy for the drug problem that we have. I appreciate you listening to me. These are not things, my opinions on these sheets, and maybe I do some editorializing, but
It
they're
happens
not.
when we're elected, right?
They're not my opinion. I'm giving you the fact.
Okay, that's fine.
And you guys say .30 for the drug problem.
Correct.
Well, Dr. Faircloth at the JVS says .75 for the JVS, and they don't run one bus. They have one building and one parking lot.
Well, that's your
And-
role as a board member to work with
And
your
no sports
peers.
complexes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else looking to address the board this morning? If not, I'll make a motion going executive session as outlined by our county administrator and assistant county prosecutor.
Second.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
This has been a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda for a printable copy of the agenda.